Hi everybody, my name is Jo with Jo Wise Leadership. Look, sorry I'm late today. I couldn't get a connection for some reason, so I'm not sure what that's about. But just as we've got people coming on this morning, I will get set up and share my page and even set up my background a little bit nicer. It's all very shadowy here today. But just as people are coming on, let me know if you do come on, because I'm just going to open up the curtains. Let me know when you come on, so that I know who's here. All right. Let's move some nice candles over here. What do you think? Is that a little bit better? All right. I'm just going to share this. It's been really funky this morning, and I've actually watched somebody else's Facebook Live this morning, and they said they had a few issues as well. So I'm sharing now. So give me a sec. We've got heaps of people coming on. So let me know that you can hear me clearly if that's cool. Oh, thank you. Nice orange today. All right. Okay, talking about owning my power today, and things are going crazy. So, all right, great. All right, okay, so welcome to Friday. Happy Friday. I've decided I'm going to have a bit of a lighter day today. So I'm doing my Facebook Live, and then I've just got a couple of other things to do. And thanks, Justice. Nice to see you. And I've only got one coaching session today, so it's a nice day for me. So I hope you're having a fabulous Friday as well. Today I wanted to share about owning your power. So for the last 5 days, we have, or including today, we've been celebrating International Women's Day all week here. It was officially on Wednesday, and it's all about celebrating women that have done amazing things for us in the past, present, and future. So we've been speaking about all week. Good morning, Helen. Nice to see you. All week we've been talking about the theme of International Women's Day, which is being bold for change. And I've been running through every day something that you can do to be more bold for change. So we started on Monday with getting clear on what it is that you want to create. When you're creating a change, get really clear on what it is. Second, we talked about what qualities and what internal characteristics and what internal power that you're going to bring to the party to support that. We also talked about who's on your team. And we talked about something else as well. As soon as I started talking about this, I was like, what do we talk about every day? So lovely to see you, Helen. Thanks for joining us this morning, everybody. So today we're going to talk about owning your power. Now, owning your power. Owning my power. Now, this is a really interesting phrase in itself, because the word power can bring up lots of different things for lots of different people. I remember hearing this phrase, about being powerful many years ago when I was sort of in my late 20s, and it made me feel a little icky. And I didn't really think about it so much at the time, because I was busy being a tour guide and, drinking and having a fabulous time traveling around the world. But moving forward, I started to look at things a little bit more closely and actually be a little bit more aware of what was going on around me and the results I was creating or not creating. And I started to look into this word power a little bit, because it really brings up a lot of icky stuff for some people. Particularly women, it can, I've noticed, because I haven't come into contact with that many guys that are like, I'm a little bit afraid of stepping into my power because of what that might mean. However, we can do that as women a little bit, because I believe for the gunk that came with a word like that for me became for me as a child, which was like, you don't want to be seen as a female to be powerful. When I was a child, it was more about, yes, of course you can do whatever you want to do as long as you're gentle and polite and, a nice girl. So the word power was not something that I sort of connected with myself a lot originally. However, it's just a word, right? And the actual definition of power, I've written it down. I mean, obviously you can look up 60 million different dictionaries, but it's the ability or capacity to do something in a particular way or act in a particular way. It's pretty basic. It doesn't have really that much emotion attached to it, does it, when you say it like that? Yet it can bring up a fair bit of emotion for some people and a bit of feeling around the word power. Hey, Solangi, nice to see you. So firstly, before we even talk about what owning your power is, get clear on, is this a cool word for you? Because it's totally a cool word for me now, owning my power. And that's why I'm sharing it with you today. But if it's a bit icky for you and you're like, oh no, I'm not really comfortable using the word power, it's a little strong for me, then, well, maybe it is, and find another word. Or if it's just a way, is it if you actually acknowledged that word and really took it on and started to think of yourself as being powerful, would something shift for you? So there's two things you can do there. If you're like, I just don't like the word, rarely do we ever just not like a word, by the way. There's usually something pretty serious behind it or pretty deep behind it. So I recommend you have a little look there. But that's one option for you. I like to always have plenty of options. And the other one is for you to go, you know what? I am a little bit icky with that. It's not one of the great words, or it's certainly not a word I would use to describe myself. So then start asking yourself about, I wonder where that came from. Where did if you've got a bit of ick around it, where did that come from? Who do I think that I got that information from? May have been a conversation that you had with a school teacher or something you heard your parents say, or, an auntie or whatever, okay? And a lot of that stuff comes from it. And it's just the way we choose to interpret it at the time, and then we take that with us. So, owning your power, to start with, you've got to own the word, yeah? So that's the really great place to start with owning your power. So find a definition or make up a definition of what power is for you so that it allows you to own it, yeah? Because for me, power for me is when I am when I'm in a place to be able to, and using and utilizing, leveraging my power is all about me being the best that I can be whenever I'm looking to do something or whenever I'm giving something a go. So whenever I'm being my best, I think that's when I'm in my power. That's when I'm really owning my power. And whatever that is, if that means that, like this morning, I was sitting at my desk and I was like, oh, I'm feeling a little tired this morning. And I went, okay, well, what's the best thing for me to do right now? So I grabbed my bottle of water and I went and sat on the couch for 10 minutes. And I didn't think about anything, any work stuff. I just sat there and drank my water for 10 minutes. In that moment, I was owning my power because I chose to do the thing that I knew was best for me at the time. And look, I would love to say that I always do that, but I don't. There's times when I will push through at my desk and, push through and think, yeah. But when we do that, we're actually stepping away from owning our power because we're not being our best. So what I mean by that is, obviously there's times when we need to push through, like, I've done recently when I was sick and I did a training. But at my, for example, this morning, I could have sat there and done a few more tasks at my desk in that 10 minutes, but by taking the 10 minutes, owning my power, sitting down, taking what I needed for 10 minutes, which is just 10 minutes sitting on the couch drinking water and chilling out, I actually, when I got to my desk, I was able to be my best there. So I was my best sitting on the couch, I made that choice, and I was my best when I went back and started to do a bit more work. Good morning, Jennifer, nice to see you. So you work out what your definition for power is and owning your power is, and you work with that. Because you know what? There is no one size fits all. Everybody knows that, yeah? So we need to work out, we need to be making choices for ourselves to make sure that they work for us. Yes, it's fine to look at other people and go, wow, they're doing really well in that area, I wonder what I can learn, but not taking everything on from another person, because that's never going to work, because we're all unique, yeah? So define power yourself. If it's icky for you, work out what that's about. Go for a little bit of a deep dive on that and check it out. Ask yourself some questions. Thanks for the thumbs up. And really delve into that for yourself. Yeah. Thank you. Lots of thumbs ups this morning. Very, very nice. Look, the next thing I wanted to mention was about when do we give our power away? So when are we not owning our power? I know for the people that I speak to and for myself, that the times I'm really not owning my power is mostly when I'm not speaking my truth. Now, what I mean by speaking my truth, because it sounds like a bit of a fluffy one, speaking my truth, but speaking my truth is when I'm not speaking what I feel at the time. If there's a situation where something happens and I don't speak up, then that's a way of taking away my power. It always makes me feel really icky afterwards. Good morning. Thank you for the love this morning. So if I'm not speaking up, if I'm not, I gave an example yesterday. We talked about boundaries yesterday. That's what we talked about. And I shared an example of where I wasn't clear on my boundaries. I didn't communicate my boundaries, and I felt frustrated and angry and resentful about that. But once I'd communicated it, it was all worked out fine. So that was it. So that if you watch what we talked about yesterday around boundaries in our Facebook Live, this resonates. One of the ways that we lose our power is by not speaking up, by not being clear on what our boundaries are. Yeah. So the second part is a really, really big one in our society today, and that is blame. We give our power away when we're blaming others or other situations for what's going on for us right now. Now look, this is a massive topic, blame. Yes, this is something that I've been doing a lot of work with and working with people on for many, many years. But we're just going to touch on it here a little bit. We might do a little bit more work on it another day. But giving your power away, one way you do that is by blaming others or other situations, as opposed to taking full responsibility for your life and what's going on right now, and asking yourself, what can I do to create an impact on this? What can I do to change this? What can I do to turn this around? Yep. Anything can be about blame. Go back to the examples I used in the boundaries video yesterday, which is about, when people get to a situation and they're working really long hours and they get very frustrated and resentful about their boss or the managers or the other leaders on the leadership team that are working these crazy hours. And however, when they would be blaming, I have to do this because of my boss, I have to do this because of the other manager, I have to do this because of the leadership team, it's the expectation. So you're kind of blaming other people for what you're not doing or what you are doing. However, when we take responsibility and ask ourselves, what can I really do about this? If I'm serious about thinking, I'm working really crazy hours here, I want to do something about it. If you're serious about it, then you've got to start taking action. Because if we continue to blame the organization, if we continue to blame the managers, if we continue to blame the other leaders that are doing the hours, or the expectations or whatever it is, then nothing of it is ever going to change. So it's about bringing it back to you again and asking yourself, not turning it around and going, well, great, so it's all my fault. Not at all. It's about changing the mindset from it's everybody else's issue and I'm the poor person that's dealing with it all, to, you know what, if I was to take responsibility here with this, the fact that I'm working crazy hours, if I was to acknowledge that, what could I do to change it? Because we can't change other people, of course. So I remember talking about the hours situation. I remember years ago working crazy hours, till 10 o'clock at night, and then I wouldn't sleep because I hadn't done all the things that were supposed to be on my to-do list. And then I'd be up at 5 or 6 to head to work, and I worked really close to where I lived as well, so that made it even worse. And I remember one night, at 5 o'clock, my partner and I woke up in the morning. I hadn't slept all night, and he's like, how much sleep did you get? And I'm like, oh, plenty. He's like, you did not. He's like, do you realize that if you don't go into work, if something happened to you and you couldn't go into work, they would be fine. I mean, obviously it would cause a little bit of a kerfuffle, but your clients would still get everything done because someone else would step in, and the business would actually be fine after, a couple of days. And it really allowed me to put things in perspective. And then I started to take action. I still worked longer hours, but I wasn't blaming the business all of the time. I started to take more responsibility, become more organized, and the big one, I also started to speak up when there was too much of a workload and push back on that, which of course other people aren't going to be happy with, but it allowed me to take back the power, to own my power again within that. I've also left businesses before because of situations that I haven't agreed with, and the expectations the verbal expectations and the spoken expectations that they put on me. And I'm like, you know what? This is not working for me. I'm out of here. So I don't always think that it's about, obviously, if you are in a situation and you're like, oh, there's all this stuff going on, it really is everyone else's fault, then nothing is ever going to change. So then you have chosen to accept this. You have chosen to give away your power in this situation. And you know what? It's really time for you to start bringing back the responsibility to yourself and asking yourself, now listen to this. Listen, really important. Asking yourself from a really gentle, kind, and forgiving place, what can I do about this? Okay, so the first place about giving, and then there's a million ways to give away your power, but I'm only speaking about 3 today. The first one is not speaking up, and that always makes us feel a bit icky, and I always use the term it makes me feel dirty, but I don't do that because I walk away from a situation and I'm like, you know what, I feel a bit yuck, it doesn't feel right, I don't feel like I'm in line with myself and I'm aligned with what I think is important because I didn't speak up in that situation. The second one is when we're blaming, we're totally giving away our power. Good morning, Rachel. Nice to see you on here this morning. About blaming. So it's just from a gentle and kind place, remember, and forgiving place, ask yourself, what can I do about this? What changes can I make? And the other thing around that is maybe check in with the video yesterday where we talked about boundaries, because there's some really good stuff around that. The third one is not acknowledging your strengths and what's good, the good stuff that we bring and what's the power that we bring to the party. Yeah, hi gorgeous to you too, Rachel. Thank you. Lovely to have you on this morning. So the third one is not acknowledging your strengths, not acknowledging your power. Now, how this plays out is when when somebody gives us a compliment or an acknowledgement at work and we push back and go, oh no, it was all my team, or oh no, it wasn't really a big deal, or no, whatever that no is where you're not accepting the compliment, you're not accepting the acknowledgement, you're not accepting what your piece of the pie was. And I talk about this quite a bit, is being willing to accept compliments, because if you don't, that person is more likely to never give one again. And we need more genuine compliments out there in the world. I think you'll all agree with that. But when we are pushing back on a compliment or an acknowledgement for something that we've done, then what we're actually doing is saying that, no, I don't agree with that. I actually don't own that power at all. That is not my strength. So it's okay to acknowledge other people and their part. Like, for example, oh, my team did it. You know, they did a really great job. However, make sure that when you're doing that, you're not taking yourself out of the picture. It's and we see people do this a lot. Oh, no, it wasn't me. It was everybody else in the whole world that did this thing. So be really, really clear with, yes, we did a fantastic job, didn't we? Yes, and I saw that this worked really well. And you know what? Bob did a great job on this, and Sam did a great job on that, and Sarah did a fabulous job on this. That is totally okay, but don't take yourself out of the picture, because you're actually giving away your power and you're telling the person they're wrong and you're not acknowledging your strengths. Okay, good morning, Vicky. Nice to see you. So acknowledging your strengths. The other thing is, I think, as everything with my message always comes back to me, comes back to us first before the external. The compliments is all quite external. However, it starts with you acknowledging your own strengths from inside to start with. So get clear on what your strengths are. Get clear on the things you enjoy doing and that are going to move you forward. And then start to own those even more. Start to utilize them, start to leverage them, to use all the top corporate words right now, but just start to use them more. I mean, I've told this story quite a few times in my trainings and with my clients, but many years ago, I was getting feedback for a long time about, you're really great at training. I was organizing lunch and learn sessions at work. I was, helping people out with that. And people were saying to me, you're a really great trainer. You're a really good teacher. And I used to always say, well, I always wanted to be a teacher, and I didn't get the marks at school, so I sort of left that dream aside. However, when people started to say that to me around, good morning, Tatiana, nice to see you. People started to say that. For years, I was like, no, it's just something that I enjoy doing. It's not really a strength. Until one day, it hit me. It was like, oh my goodness. this is actually something I'm good at. And bonus, I can make a living out of it. And I love doing it. It gives me energy. And so simply by acknowledging and owning that as a strength of mine, after years of going, oh no, it's not a strength, it's just something that I happen to be really amazing at, which happens to be a strength. When I did that, I was actually able to change the trajectory of my career, and that's one of the major areas that I thrive in these days. So part of owning your power, which is what we're speaking about today, owning your power, is acknowledging your strengths, having a look at those strengths and going, okay, so what can I do with these strengths? How can I allow this to move me forward? How can I allow this to get closer to what I want to do? It doesn't need to be done in the same way you see everybody else doing it, because this is the point of us being individual people, and where our strengths really come out to play is when we're owning all of our strengths, and we're using those and leveraging them to create an impact, to enjoy our lives more, to enjoy our careers more, to be better at what we do. Then that's when it all starts to play out way better. Yeah. All right. So today we've talked about owning your power, and I think it's really important for us to really get clear on what the word power brings up for us and create our own definition around that. I'm just going to check because Rachel is very wise and she's just put a comment, so I want to make sure I read it. This has just happened to me recently because I've acknowledged that one of my strengths is to be really empathetic, whereas I always thought I was. Oh, I can't read the end of that on here. But thank you for sharing, Rachel. It's when we start to acknowledge our strengths, and it's not just, okay, I'm going to one day just acknowledge my strengths now and that's done. It's about acknowledging our strengths and then continuing to do that so that we can still, different strengths come up at different times as well. So thanks, Rach, that's great. Great, so that's it for today, owning your power. The final thing I'm going to chat about today is I'm going to be speaking a bit more about it over the next couple of weeks, is on the 28th of March, the Tuesday night, I'm running an online masterclass. It's a Rise and Thrive masterclass for professional leaders that are ready to take their career to the next level and do it in a way that's sustainable and where they can really thrive. So I'll add the link in a little while. Just once I've finished, I've got to create one more ticket variation on that, but I'm going to add that link there today, so please have a look and get registered. There's a bit of a deal if you register 2 people at the same time, and it'd be fabulous to have a whole group of amazing women and amazing people on this call. It's going to be an online masterclass, so you can access it from anywhere in Australia, because the last couple of times I've run live events, which I'm continuing to do because I love running these live events, and a lot of people get so much out of them, but there's a lot of people calling, saying from Sydney or from Adelaide or other places in Australia that they're wanting to get involved with these classes as well. So I've created an online masterclass and it'll be running in a couple of weeks, so I'll add the link for that as well. Thank you, Rachel. Sounds great. And we've got a couple more comments here, so thank you. Like my colour today, I've got a few comments. I have to start wearing it more often. Have an amazing day, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. I really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you again soon, and check out the link for the masterclass because it'd be great to have you on there. Have a great day.